Hello, everybody. It's Nick from Karen's Gateway Real Estate, and I'm excited to bring you today a special guest. I've got Bobby Hill, who's a mortgage loan officer for Northway Bank. I got him here today. We're going to talk about mortgages and how anybody, the average person, can go out and apply for a mortgage today, what the process is going to look like, especially surrounding the coronavirus pandemic. So, without further ado, here's my interview with Bobby Hill. All right, guys, I got Bobby Hill with us. He's the mortgage loan officer from Northway Bank. You're based out of Berlin, is that correct, Bobby?
Correct. Berlin and Gorham is where my offices are.
Berlin and Gorham. See, I wasn't aware of Gorham. All right, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you serve the clients in that area and what areas you serve.
Yeah, so Bobby Hill, thanks for having me, Nick. I'm a loan officer for Northway Bank. I handle the residential side of real estate in Coos County and all of New Hampshire. I'm typically in Coos, but I have clients from all over the state that I can help. So not geographically challenged in that way. So I can definitely handle anything from the Coos down to the seacoast.
Now, Northway is a large financial institution, is it not? I mean, you guys have branches all the way to the bottom of the state, correct?
Yeah, we do. We have 17 branches actually, Nick, and still keep that community bank feel because I think we have roughly about $1 billion in assets in the state. So yeah, but still keep that community feel.
I know when I've gone into your office, in your branch, it still does have that feel. You always have the people at the tellers. They're greeting everybody, by name. It seems like.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how.
Absolutely.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
All right. So can you just walk us through what a mortgage process looks like today in 2020? I know we're dealing with all this COVID-19 stuff, and we'll talk about maybe how that's affecting the mortgage process. But just cool. In general, like if I was getting ready to buy my a home, whether it be in Berlin, Gorham, or Groveton, or Lancaster, what do I got to do? Do I start with a realtor? Do I start with the lender? What do I do?
So a lot of times it's good whenever you go speak with a realtor such as yourself, they're going to want to see that you've done some research or gotten pre-qualified. So you are able to purchase a house you may be looking at. Obviously, that's where we come in. And with the COVID-19 going on, some things have changed, but a lot of things really haven't. For instance, now I'm at my house, 97% of the time. I do go into the bank every so often to, grab documents and stuff, but everything is pretty much being done via on the phone, online, or a combination of all those above. A lot of calls on the cell phone. The application can be initiated from an email and just clicking on the link that I send out. Once that comes in, I'm able to do my thing on my end with pulling in credit, debts and liabilities, and seeing how everything looks to get you pre-qualified. So, and sometimes depending on how much information is needed, I can have a turnaround time in under a half an hour. A lot of times. Yep.
Okay. So like I wouldn't drive up to the bank now because the bank is locked, correct? And the best way to, if I needed a mortgage or wanted to learn more about the services that you offer, how would I do that? I go to northwaybank.com.
Yeah, so you can go to northwaybank.com and click on apply online, or if you have my contact info, you can certainly reach me at rhill@northwaybank.com. I have my phone forwarded to from the bank, so it comes right to my cell phone, and that's 326-7344. That comes right to me. So I can either email you because if I email you from me, the link goes right to my site, right to my website. So then when that's filled out, I get notification that the application has come through, so I can go in and then pull everything in and cross the T's, dot the I's kind of thing. And if we're missing anything, I can call up and ask, how long have you been at your job, or do you have a PO box for an address? Little things like that to make sure that the application is nice and accurate.
So if I logged on to Northway Bank's website and I said I want to find out more about a mortgage, it's not necessarily going to take me right to you, is it?
Yeah, no. So if you go to the Northway site itself, what'll happen is it'll it'll go in and it'll show the area that you're looking at, and if it's in Coos County, uh, more than likely that'll get sent off to my email.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned documents. What kind of documents would anybody need right up front to get started?
So typically, what we would get up front, and this is, we can get the application going without having the documents in hand. If you're a W-2 wage earner, for instance, if you're employed by somebody else. So a most recent pay stub, up-to-date bank statement, most recent year's tax returns with W-2s. And that's kind of a funny topic because a lot of times people have their tax returns, but they can never find the W-2s. So, but it's very important to know that we need both items. They have to come in together and match. And that's so they can make sure that there's no other side businesses or anything like that that they're not accounting for.
Okay. Yeah, well,
So
that's good stuff.
if you're a self-employed borrower and you've been in business for more than 5 years, we can typically just use your most recent 1 year of tax returns. If you're less than 5 years, we would need at least the last two years of tax returns.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yep.
that makes sense. That applies to guys like me.
Yeah.
Because I've only been in business for 3 years. So,
Yep.
all right. So I would need two. If I
You would
can't
need
saw
two.
you, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. um, let's see. Let me look at my notes here and we'll get some more questions. So, what specifically has the coronavirus impacted other than now I can't drive to your office in Berlin
Yep.
and walk in and see you. I can't get a in-person meeting.
Yep. And we can still do that. It's the branches are closed, the lobbies are closed, but by appointment only.
Okay.
So for instance, in town, we can make an appointment. We can have no more than 3 customers in the branch. That's kind of how they're doing it to keep that social distancing, adhering to that as best we can. Of course, my office is a little bit away from the lobby. So it's a matter of just making an appointment and making sure that we can match up the times if we wanted to meet in person. And we're supposed to ask if you've traveled anywhere, have you been quarantined, anything like that, just as a typical questions that, if we're going to have an interview kind of thing, just to protect everybody.
I lost my train of thought. So what happens on if we start the process and I can't get a document right now or things are slower because there's so for example I need a credit card statement and
Yep.
my next one's not due out for 3 weeks and I call the credit card company and say, hey, listen, they print me off a credit card statement and it's taken a while. Is it just that we've got to be patient through the process or?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that can go from a credit card statement to a bank statement to most recent pay stub. So a lot of times if it's something that we need, a most recent document, for instance, we need to show that you have funds to close for your closing. So typically we're going to have that, we need that well in advance other than the last couple of days, right? So that gives us some time and flexibility. Credit card statement, that will come up if, we had to make sure and pay one off. So your most recent one would work. However, to get the loan cleared to close, and again, we would have some time to get that handled. We would just condition for that item to come in. So, when we start a loan process and get things moving along, I'm going to send you kind of a cheat sheet, if you will, of a basic list of documents that I'm going to need that I'd like you to start gathering right off, because we'd like to have those in-house within about 7 days of application, because we got to get that off to underwriting so they can underwrite the loan and hopefully get you out a commitment letter. So once they've initially underwritten that loan and everything looks good, they'll condition for those things that are missing. For instance, a most recent pay stub or that homeowner's insurance that you're going to need to get for the house that you're purchasing. Right, things like that you haven't gotten yet because you've just started the process. Also, the appraisal, they'll condition for that because we have to order the appraisal. That hasn't happened yet, so they'll condition for those items. But provided we can get all these documents that are listed on your commitment letter, everything should be fine and the loan should close with no problem.
Yeah, and we all know, like, if you're in the industry, we know the appraisal process is it takes a while, and it's
Yeah, it
it's
can.
a couple different reasons. One is the shortage of appraisers in the state, and then
Yep.
two, right now, we're when I talk to appraisers, they're doing a lot of refi.
Yes.
How's that part of the business going? Like, if I have a mortgage, say I have a mortgage with you right now, um, and I took out the loan 5 or 6 years ago,
Yep.
should I look into refining right now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the rates are, I mean, they were low to begin with before this all happened. And they've gotten, even lower than before. So, I've seen the rates for a shorter term, 15-year, in the mid 2% range, 2.5, 2.6, somewhere in there. And of course, each loan is different. Each situation is different. There's a difference between just a no cash out term and rate refinance versus a cash out refinance. There's adjustments for each different situation, but I'll give you an example for a no cash out refinance. Depending on the customer and the debt to income and their credit score and geographic location, sometimes they can get away without an appraisal. And that comes through. We find that out when we run the automated underwriting system to get our, that proverbial green check mark, if you will, that it's an approved eligible. But it's an algorithm that the computer uses based on, again, all those things that I just mentioned. So if you've had your loan for 5-6 years, absolutely look, it's worth looking into, because you could probably shorten your term and keep your payment the same and save yourself,
If you can shorten your term, you are definitely cutting off a lot of debt on the back
a lot of
end.
interest. Yeah. Yep.
Interest, yeah.
Yep.
Because I know people that compare 30 and 20 years, just in those two terms, there's a big difference in that.
Yeah.
When I work with
Yeah.
a lot of buyers that originally they probably start a lot of them, they start out with the 30-year mindset because they're like, oh, I just
Right.
need to keep this as low as I can, and then when they realize just how much savings there really is when you just
it's
drop it down
thousands.
10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of savings and interest for sure.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of skipped over one thing. And then we'll go over. So what? Okay, so yes, this one. When we were talking back a little bit back with the coronavirus part of
Yep.
what if I got a loan or a mortgage with you, and I'm starting to get nervous about making my monthly payment. What should I do? Like maybe I'm still working, or maybe I'm not.
Sure.
But I'm starting to get those anxiety feelings and some warning signs that things are getting tight in my household
Yeah.
budget,
Yep.
and I want to stay current. What are my options? What do I got to do? What do I need to do?
So very important question that you just had. During the time that we're in, obviously, bad things happen to good people. Everything, you never know what's going to happen with income or job right now. So what the bank has done, and they meet about once or twice a day with new updates and new procedures and everything else. So for an example, if you say you're furloughed right now, still getting paid, still employed, but not going to work every day, and you're a little nervous and want to take a reprieve, if you will, of the next few months just to be safe and better safe than sorry. What the bank is doing in some instances is doing a loan modification. And the reason they're doing a modification is you can't take your payments and just tack them on to the end of the loan, because there's, it changes the terms of the loan, and it changes the amortization schedule and everything at the end. So what they're doing is they'll do a modification. So let's say you needed 3 months, right, to not make your mortgage payment. So you can get 3 months relief of your mortgage payment, your principal and interest only, because you still have to, if your taxes and insurance are escrowed, you still need to keep current with those, right? So if your tax and insurance are $300 a month, but your mortgage is $500 a month, well, you can save that $500 a month. So, and they're doing a 12-month term. So basically, if you took 3 months off, over the next, after those 3 months are up, over the 9 months, you'd have to make those 3 payments up throughout the 9 months. They'd spread it out. Okay, so if you needed 6 months, yeah, so your payment would go up that difference spread out over the 9 months. In same
schedule, and you revert
Yep.
back to where you would have been in
exactly.
the process. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and then when the 12 months is up, it's done. So
Well, that's good to know, because I, you know, I'm still talking to buyers every day, and I'm talking to sellers, and you know, some of the questions sellers are giving me is like, well, who's going to get a loan right now? You know, everybody's nervous about that. We're nervous about, we still have a mortgage on this, and we're nervous about paying it,
right.
and so having something in place right there is good. Now they just need to call. Who do they call to talk about that?
Yeah, so they would call either Zuri Chambers and Collections. Okay, and I think if in any overflow, they might get a hold of someone in loan servicing. So either two of those departments can direct you to the right person to get that process started.
I really only had one other question I wanted to just dive into today.
Okay.
Our state is a vacation state. We do a lot of
Yes.
second homes and stuff. And Berlin area is no different. Same with Groveton and all of that.
Yep.
How is a second mortgage different than a primary mortgage, if anything is different?
Second mortgage meaning as a second home or as, okay.
Yeah. So you've already got your home. Say you're, we deal with a lot of people from Southern New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut in the real estate industry.
Yep.
They want their camp, their house, or that second home.
Yep.
That's typically a second time for them.
Yeah, so a second home, a lot of things aren't different other than the down payment requirement. So if you currently own a primary home somewhere else and you want to buy a second home, if that second home is a single family home and nothing odd about it, the water source, everything is, if it's on a well and it's got its own septic and there's no odd things about the property, it would be a conforming second home and you can get away with 10% down. Okay. Now at the bank, so we typically, we have all this, your standard secondary market loans, first time home buyer loans, things of that nature. One thing that Northway, and we do a really good job on all those types of loans, we also have a little niche as well that if you want to buy that camp on the lake that has a water source fed from a spring, as an example, right? We see that quite a bit, right? That wouldn't fall into a conforming secondary market home. No one will do those. We will, Northway will. The only requirement is you need to have 20% down, okay? Because anything less than 20% down on any type of home loan, you have to carry that primary mortgage insurance, right? Because that protects if something went bad, or what it protects the bank for that difference in equity. So when you have a quote unquote camp or deemed a seasonal property, so let's say it's a 3-season home, they close it up in the wintertime because there's no heat source, the water doesn't run, that kind of thing, that would be deemed a seasonal property. We do those, but we do those as a portfolio loan because we keep the loan in-house. It doesn't get sold because it doesn't qualify for any of those secondary market guidelines. So definitely some options out there that we have, and depending on the property can usually fit any loan type to it.
All right, excellent. Hey, I know you provided some slides, and we didn't really touch on them, but what I'll do is I'm going to include them on the back end of this video.
Oh, great.
So that people, it's got some basic information that you provided on what the rates are and whatnot.
Yeah.
And some general information.
Yeah, a couple promotions that we have on those.
Yeah, excellent. Because we're just about out of time, but I do want to thank you for your time today. And,
yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Back when things get back to normal, and we'll just take a deeper dive or go over some more stuff that we just didn't cover today. But
definitely, that'd be great.
I appreciate your time, and thank you for helping me educate everybody out there. And we'll look forward to doing some more transactions with you.
All right. Appreciate it, Nick. Thanks for your time. Thanks for having me, and stay safe and well. All right. Take care.